What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Elune video here on the channel. And today, guys, we're going to be going over my all-in-one Rachel kind of description of how you can use her for TRENT 11, Proto 11, all that good stuff. So I apologize. I did show my TRENT 11 run in my previous video, which I'll have at the end of this video description. My audio didn't record, and I just didn't have time to re-record it to get that video out to you guys yesterday, or Friday, whatever day it was. So I'm just going to briefly go over how you use Rachel for TRENT in comparison to Proto. So we guys know about her skills kind of a little bit. She's got a basic single attack for her S1. Her S2 gives her channeling ability that's going to reduce damage by 20%. And distributes single target damage dealt to any ally in Rachel's row evenly among all allies. So this is where she really synergizes well with either a charge formation or a iron wall formation. So more preferably iron wall, especially when we're talking about bosses, because we do want the extra soul from whatever your high speed DPS is. For me, it's Balder. So now, it is a little different because you're having your support units and your other units in the front line, but because Rachel is going to be giving you so much defense capability with Deploy Pavius, especially for Proto, which you will not be using this for TRENT, but for Proto, this is going to help you reduce a lot of damage, and then on top of that, she has her passive as well on her passive 1. Damage received, reduces damage received by 20% for all allies deployed in the same row. So basically, you're going to have 40% damage reduction from Protect, and then for Deploy Pavis, if you have Deploy Pavis maxed out. So, basically, that's just going to be super, super clutch to help you reduce damage there. Now, I'm looking here, during channeling, reduce damage received by 20% and distribute single target damage. Okay, so it reduces all damage by 20%. So that means basically you're getting 40% damage reduction while Rachel's in that row, as long as they're not attacking your back row. So, which is pretty awesome. So the downside for this ability is that it does take her out of doing damage for 3 turns, because it is a very long time being in channeling. Now, she will deal 1 hit of damage when she comes out of channeling to whatever enemy you selected. I recommend trying to go for the boss, because more than likely the minions, the ants, whatever you want to call them, are probably going to be dead and your target will no longer be there by the time Rachel gets her 3-turn channeling done. So, and it's not an absorbent amount of damage for her S2. The utility for her S2 is protecting your allies. So that's the overall thing there. And that's why for TRENT, you don't want to use her S2, because you guys know you're on that clock of getting rid of those minions before TRENT's turn comes up, before he strips all your buffs, and then you're in a really bad situation. So you want to keep her available, because even just her S1 with her passive on her S2 is going to deal a lot of damage to those ants. So you do want to not use her S2, which I learned through trial and tribulation against TRENT. Now for Proto, it's different, because Proto, the minions are very easy to take out in comparison. So, and you do want that damage reduction because of the amount of how hard Proto does hit AoE wise and everything else. So you do want that extra 20% damage reduction, especially if you are using your Popo and Pepe in your front row. If you're using this particular comp to go with the Despair mechanic, and you want to try to keep your Popo and Pepe alive, because keep in mind they are epics, they're not going to have 50k health. Even with dupes, you're probably only going to reach around 30, maybe like 38 to 42,000 at most health if you have a lot of HP gear. So that's how you're going to want to kind of bring out Rachel for that aspect. Then we have her S3. S3 is going to deal 1,300 plus 3.08% of the damage to an enemy, and then deals an additional 30% damage to the existing health. The amount of damage is proportional to cannot exceed 200% attack. Now, we thought originally this attack was going to do a lot more than it did. So I will say that I think the S3 of Rachel does need to be worked on, does need to be rebalanced, so on and so forth. I'm really underwhelmed a little bit on this. Even with the buffs of like Weiwei and Karu, I just don't see her performing nearly as well as like a Balder S3. So I know she's a dual type element, because she is giving you lots of defensive capability, which I'm totally behind on her passives, on her S2. But it really does downgrade her a lot, I feel, in TRENT. Now, she's still, like, I think of like a 90% clear rate with her on TRENT, just because I now don't have to run Freya, and I am leveled out with a little bit more DPS to get rid of those ants. Like, I just did my run today, no problems. I had no issues clearing Trent 11. But when we get into Trent 12, I feel that we're going to be in a little bit of trouble for the DPS output that she has. So to get that bar up higher to where she's really, really useful, that's where I really want to see maybe some rework with her in the future, hopefully soon on her S3, just to give you that extra little oomph to where you feel very, very confident in her taking on high-level bosses. Keep in mind, we're only at 12, so the bosses are going to get harder and harder and harder. So hopefully the slate system is going to help that. Obviously, I don't have another dupe of Rachel. I have her maxed out, but keep in mind, mine is like at the premium level. So people that only have a Rachel base, or maybe a +1, +2 Rachel, it's going to be even harder to wedge those obstacles out. So that's where I'm kind of coming in with my overview. But basically, to wrap up the kind of description of her, I'd stick to using her S2, S3 combination in Proto, and then using her S3 and S1 only in Trent. And then you guys know that she's going to also absorb a little bit of damage, but I haven't really seen that being too incredibly useful, because I think even if you're distributing the damage, she actually has to get hit. So that requires Rachel to get hit with a single target, which unfortunately, because of how her kit works, you can't put her in a single target row because you want that overall damage reduction for your whole team. So that's why I think her passive 3 is kind of I'm not really sold on her passive 3, but her passive 2, passive 1 are great. So that's going to be my overall review. Now, do I regret enhancing her? No, because I feel they will rebalance her, or she'll be useful down the road for certain things. I think she's going to be really good for Chaos Tower to help reduce that damage in your back row. You can use your units like your Anime or your Fahrenheit or your Nazar in your front row in like a charge formation for your Chaos Tower. So I feel she'll be really, really strong there. But that's going to be my overall video, guys, of Rachel. I'm going to leave the run of Proto at the end of this video, and then you guys can also at the end screen click on my Trent run to watch that as well, to see her perform in the Trent run as well. So I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys drop a like down below. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. And I thank you guys so much for watching. This is Fort Misery Gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next Elune.
角にいる。
ボルト装填完了。照準開始。チャーチャ。ボルト装填完了。照準チャーチャ。レディーアクション。ミュージックスタート。どうぞ一緒に遊ぼうよ。炎を燃やせ。歓声を上げよう。リズムに合わせて。
行くぞ。角にいる。
ボルト装填完了。照準開始。レディーアクション。ボルト装填完了。照準開始。一緒に遊ぼうよ。炎を燃やせ。歓声を上げよう。
行くぞ。角にいる。
レディーアクション。
行くぞ。角にいる。
ボルト装填完了。照準チャーチャ。レディーアクション。ミュージックスタート。どうぞ一緒に遊ぼうよ。炎を燃やせ。歓声を上げよう。いきます。チャーチャ。
行くぞ。角にいる。
ボルト装填完了。照準開始。チャーチャ。一緒に遊ぼうよ。炎を燃やせ。リズムに合わせて。
行くぞ。角にいる。
ボルト装填完了。照準開始。レディーアクション。いきます。一緒に遊ぼうよ。
行くぞ。角にいる。
ボルト装填完了。照準開始。チャーチャ。レディーアクション。一緒に遊ぼうよ。
行くぞ。角にいる。
ボルト装填完了。チャーチャ。レディーアクション。ミュージックスタート。どうぞ一緒に遊ぼうよ。炎を燃やせ。歓声を上げよう。リズムに合わせて。
行くぞ。角にいる。
ルト装填完了。操縦開始。レディーアクション。ボルト装填完了。一緒に遊ぼうよ。炎を燃やせ。歓声を上げよう。
行くぞタフにいる。
レディーアクション。いきます。ボルト装填完了。操縦タッチ。一緒に遊ぼうよ。ボルト装填完了。操縦開始。
行くぞタフにいる。
炎を燃やせ。歓声を上げよう。いきます。チャーチャ。レディーアクション。いきます。